I was thinking, what is it that you're hoping to open up in your, I don't know what to call it, whatever it is that you're doing now. It's what's it going,
Uh-oh, I
what
lost
is
you.
it?
I lost that question. What do I hope
Okay.
to open up through the series of conversations that I'm having and recording? Is that what you
Yes,
asked?
that kind of thing. Yes. I was wondering how I was helping at all to help you in your whatever in your endeavor, I suppose.
I think the Fool fascinates me. I think the experience I had with you last week was really interesting and enlivening because I was so like this. I felt like this was what was happening. It was like, I understand, I don't understand. Understand, I don't understand. What's he saying? Do I understand what I'm saying? And should I stop thinking about what I'm thinking about? And it was,
And
yeah.
and I don't know, was it a week ago or something like this? Um, what has happened to you since? Have you, or are you feeling like there is something there which can be opened, which perhaps you hadn't sort of been able to see before, or were you feeling something like this?
Yeah. I think I said to you in the message, I felt rearranged. That was the best way that I could describe how I felt after the conversation. I don't know exactly what that means, other than that was the felt sense in my
I
body.
suppose, I suppose people will be thinking, I wonder what that conversation was, and I don't know how I can help you to wonder what that conversation was that people will be listening to, saying, I wonder what that conversation was that expanded and did something to you. Because at the moment, they'll be going, I don't see what this is all about. So we've got a kind of missing link. We've got a kind of missing process, whereas the first time we met isn't like the second time we met. And I was wondering, people listening or trying to understand what it is we're saying. My feeling for fooling is it's difficult because the whole process of uh, sidestepping. For example, last week we talked about this, but from other people's point of view, we've totally sidestepped what we did last week. So that's a good example of how things are related, from one place to another, with so much interpretation and so much kind of wondering, what is it about the world that no one seems to listen to, what we need to be doing to raise the joy and the happiness in people's lives. It's partly because we listen to something, or we feel, I feel that I've had in my history, or my yesterdays, and in my experience of being alive, that would be great if we sort of gathered it all together and made it into a kind of present or presentation, um, which would somehow explain what was happening in time. And I think last week, which is last week, it's about time. Um,
Mm.
the whole aspect of getting you, me, us into the present. And present is a kind of strange thing. For me, at Christmas, you have a present. And you give the present to somebody.
Mm.
If we went along these lines, we are each trying to give ourselves a present, and we don't really quite see this opportunity. I may hold something in abeyance in myself. I see Viv next. I hope I will be able to open this present for her, and she will then go, ooh, ah, or something. And the ooh ah is about expectancy,
Mm.
about you this week, hoping, feeling that perhaps we can open a present together that is the sum of past things, but we have to open the present like we've never opened it before. And that applies to anybody listening and anybody wanting to understand how to open the present, and not what is in the present, or I hope I have that in the present. Oh no, it's not. Oh bollocks! I thought I was going to have something interesting, and now it's not. But it looked so good. It was wrapped up nice, back to something good. Yet I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to open it. I didn't know what to do. Is it? I mean, if it was wrapped up in cardboard paper, I could open it. But how am I a present? How am I in myself something that can be opened in
Mm.
the present? And how is it that everybody could open themselves in the present? It's a difficult sidestepping thing, because every time you want to think about it, you have to wonder about it. And if you wonder about it, you're not in the present. You're wondering about what it would be like if I was in the present and I could open it. And so you get actually bound up in knots. And that's, the problem with thinking, is that it tries to help us, help you, help us to do the thing that we want to do. But, as we find, there's nothing inside it. We don't know how to begin to be quiet in ourselves, to wonder and to open. I wondered if you felt these things as well.
Mm. Yes, I think so. And then I say, I think, and I
Yeah.
think, don't think. But
Yes.
I
Do you feel very new to the present?
I did. The next day, I almost made a point of trying to not think so that I was present, particularly with my kids and their invitations to play.
Yes. It's spontaneous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas you carry, well, I could play for a little bit, but I've got to do this and that and the other. And they're going, why we just play, we when we're playing, what do you call them, darling?
I do call them darling,
Yeah,
sweetheart, and darling.
sweetheart. Sweetheart, I'm really enjoying this. Look, I've got, I can play with you in half an hour, but I can't play with you just now because I've got to do dum-de-dum and this and this and that. But I promise you that we'll go out in the garden and we'll play then. I want to do it now. Please, now. Why can't we do it now? Well, I've got to sidestep a lot. I've got a lot of sidestepping to do, because I know the present is there and play is there and we can do all these things, but I've got to sort of skirt round it, because I I have to give time to it. Do you understand? I have to give time, so that we can be timeless together in the garden. But I'm so split, darling. My head is like this, and I I just I'm just lending myself to this idea of play, and I've got another 10 minutes or another half an hour or another hour, but I can't relax, you see, darling, sweetie pie. I understand. I love you very much. I do love you. It's just that I can't get into the present with you. Well, it's easy. Just go and do it. You know, easy peasy. Come on, let's do it. But thinking has a reluctance, doesn't it? Somehow there's a reluctance. Because one imagines you have a lot more, uh, aspects to deal with, things to do, uh, other people to think about, and all that becomes thinking. And then to just play in the garden with our children. I mean, to a certain extent, I hope you think we're playing now. That we are playing, but the thing is that thinking wants to pop in all the time and say things like, "What? How? Why? What's going on?" So the whole sort of personality of thinking I'd like to introduce you to is that there is a kind of difference between the way swallowed up. So I can't look out of the window anymore, and I can't drive anymore, and I can't do anything anymore without this perspective continuously going on in my mind. Is it possible? I mean, I have been educated, or at least somebody's tried to educate me. I don't think they were very successful in many respects. I would say, well, they have, because you're talking now. I am talking now, but I feel that if we looked at the Western world, or education in general, education has been a great thing in understanding how to create thought and thinking. And I in no way denigrate that. I am. The problem for me is that I wasn't a thinker before I was a thinker. I had to be educated. There wasn't anything there that was thinking in that way. Responsibility, paying. There wasn't a whole level there. I was somebody very, very employed in being somebody or other. Well, employed is the wrong word. I was just being. And this being is in now, and now is a spontaneous thing. But how to get into now is not the same as talking about how to get into now. So I want you, I would like you, it would be good to have a look and see why these things haven't been always the perspective of humans. I mean, I'm living, but the people who were before me are now timeless. They are in a place which I would call a dream world, or a heaven, or a place of hell, or something, something other than the place where I am. But thinking has arranged that in me. I mean, thinking has arranged that there's me thinking, and then there's other thing you do, which I'm not sure what it is. you being in now, and I am always trying to search. My thinking is always trying to search out what it is that I'm trying to do when I'm in now. And the whole world much prefers to be in now than in thinking. Oh dear. So here we are, we're kind of stuck with wash it off. It can't, once it's done, it's done. It's like we've moved into this space and then we've noticed that everyone's got mud on their face and we can't clean the mud off from anybody's face without smearing it and then trying to change it and then trying to, and you try to get the mud off me and I try to get the mud off you, and it's a hopeless task. So we just stop doing it, but we still look filthy and we still don't know quite. Filthy doesn't mean like when you're playing with your children and they put mud all over their face. Is that kind of filthy, not filthy as in awful thoughts. But as soon as we dam up our natural flow, the flow that would just be, just flowing around us, we try to stop it and box it up and try to do something with it, as if something which we call consciousness, we seem to want and think about it and write notes and we get a piece of mud and think, what is this mud? Why is it here? What is it doing? What is the best should we put it over there to the right or over there to the left? Or shall we put it on our head and make a mask? This is a very interface. What timeless is about is that timeless has always been in now, and I'm talking about it. But underneath my talking about it, I am speaking to you from a timeless place. Now, if I can talk to you from a timeless place, as opposed to a place of continuous references and saying, well, that's very like a book I read or seen or heard. You're talking very like Mr. Madubdidub. The other day I was talking about that and they were talking about this and I talking about that. So that's not actually talking from timelessness. So the approach, we are all in timelessness, so we that's not the problem. The problem is realizing that we are in timelessness, because every time we think, we create time, and because we create time, we can't sort of, we can't see the back of our head by turning round. We cannot feel the catching our tail. We pull it along behind us, but if we see it, we whip round and then it's not there again. So this thinking is an encouragement for us. Can we play with our children any differently? Can we write letters? Can we speak? Can we be with each other? Can we love each other without something all the time to defensiveness? Can we do that? Well, apparently not. I'm not saying we can. And when somebody talks about perfection or the perfect, then thinking strives for this, but thinking isn't something that we need to think about perfection with. Our perfection, nature, trees, flowers, birds, all these things that fly around in now, there's all these things going on in now. But if I start to think, there's lots of people in now at the moment, then I am dropping out of now to think, oh, that's a lovely bird, or that's a lovely flower. When in fact, I can relinquish this continuous niggly feeling, this strange sidesteppy thing, trying to see my own face by looking in the mirror and then trying to talk to my image and say, what are you doing? It's a very sort of, I don't know, self-indulgent or masturbatory kind of thing, looking at myself. When there's no necessity to do that at all, I can drop all that. And when fooling, to learn to fool is to know that all these things go on at the same time. You know, timelessness and time are going on along at the same moment. The moment that I missed is in timelessness, and the moment I think about is in time. So there's a kind of bridge or kind of relaxation from one to the other. You can appear to be a separate island, you know, and that would be so. You in Australia, me wherever I am in England. And yet we can create no gap at all. We can be totally together and really enjoy each other. That is a now thing. And a now thing is totally impossible to write about. But at least I am trying to know that I am very close to you. The fool, I work as a fool, and the fool is the closest thing to you, me, us, them. But it's the one thing that we do not realize. Realize is to use the word real eyes. If we could realize this and not manipulate it, I can love you easily, but I can't if I think to myself, why? What am I doing? She'll take that totally wrong. And I will talk to myself about something that even had any say in, and then I talk with this person that I'm talking to. Well, you can't do that. You can't say you grounds on that. You've got no grounds to say that you love her. I said, no, I haven't. I'm playing, that's all. Ah, playing. That's not very serious, is it? But I don't want to be serious. I want to leap over these bounds that tie me into my thinking, and and all of us begin to see that we are all at peace, except for our thinking. We are all on the earth very successfully being, but not with our thinking. Our thinking pulls us apart. We look at a tree and we think, how many deck chairs can I make out of it? We can't look at anything without somehow thinking that what my idea about deck chairs is so much better than just being with the tree. I can't be with a tree without thinking, what kind of tree is this? What's its name? So we have a 50-50 kind of problem. We try to make our world 100%. I think I feel I 100% know you. But you see, I know that's not so. But I can say that my 50% is always in now. And my 50% needs other 50%ers to make it 100%. So my tree needs to be able to talk to me, be with me, so we make 100%. If we don't make 100%, it's just sidestepping. But on the other hand, even if I set about trying to be 100%, it's a whole thinking thing. So I have a. Has this ever happened before? Yes. History, this has been the one thing that's going on all the time. Everyone's making up what happened a few hundred years ago. Everybody's making up what's happening in a few hundred years in the front and the back, and making up what happened yesterday. And there's lots of people talking about our relationship on this channel already. You know, people will say, well, you know, the reason, I mean, it's so obvious, you know, that they love each other. So obvious. I don't know why they don't just get on with saying it. And so it goes on and on like this.
Yeah.
So in fooling, there's some point where I must give up. I must give up thinking. And I must give in to timelessness. Well, you might say, well, that's at the end of your life. You give up and you give in, and then we don't see you anymore. But we're cut off. You see, our thinking has cut us off from the worlds that have and are always there. They don't change. The universe is a loving place. You have perpetual motion in space. And love is perpetual motion. So these things are just going on and on and on. They're just going on and on and on. Beautifully round each other, dancing, moving, being. The only problem for me is that I'm a bit frightened of so much love. Of the whole world being love, you know, all working beautifully with each other, the plant working well with the bird working well with the sky, you know, all these things, they are all doing it. And then there's me going, help! What's going on? Why do I feel so split from all this? And then someone has said, well, this is the best thing you can do. You split from everything around you. And then you question your way back, as if there was a way back from splitting. Back means time, and forward means time. So this is an obvious paradox. I would say paradox, you know, we understand paradox as, well, my thinking is a parasite out of this paradox. Parasite, paradox. My parasite, as in, can you hear? Parasite, you know, two sets of seeing at the same time. One feeding off the other. If one feeds off the other, then one feels less because of the way one swallows up the other, tries to use it in some way and bring all that aspect to its side to gain some advantage of some sort over the other side. But we mainly live not in, we live on the side of the parasite that feeds off the world. So we look at a tree how many deck chairs can we make out of that?
Mm.
So that's the tree. And then my parasite that sees that I can make deck chairs out of it. And so I've used this parasite and thinking that this is brilliant. I can look at anything and think, oh, what is the advantage of me looking at this? I can look at this river and I can think, ooh, I shall dam it up and make electricity. That never suggests that I know anything about the river at all. I just parasited it. I've just seen a way to parasite it. And I think I did that. I am the one who made the dam, the one who made the deck chairs. I'm the one who created the business. I did that. Anybody give me a round of applause? But you cannot hear applause in the other parasite, which I've used so much. There's no applause there. There's just me carrying on. Ah, deck chairs in there. Oh, and this thing, you know, I can make that into a house. I can make this into a thing. I could do that. I could do this. I am very good. I am brilliant. How did I do that? I mean, you know, otherwise the big tree, the tree would just grow and I'd never be able to make any deck chairs. That's the brilliance of parasite. I can see how to use everything to my advantage. I can do that. But then I bump into you, or I bump into someone else who sees that. Can I join you with making these chairs out of this tree? Which then, well, no, I mean, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what sort of chairs did you think about? Think. Well, I thought chairs should have a canvas covering, like a deck chair. Oh, I never thought of that. No, that's no good at all. No, we have to compromise. I need a chair that's substantial, that a king would have or a queen would have. Oh, I was thinking just as an ordinary deck chair on the beach. So you've got two parasites. Then you try to steal the other person's idea, you know, because you see it. And then try to think, well, I could compromise by taking some of that idea and putting it into mine. And so it goes on. Huge, great cacophony of this, that, and the other. So this is parasite. It lives off. I mean, if you took the world away, parasite would have something else to parasite. But basically, you and I live at the bottom of the air. And that's what brings us together. Not your thinking. But you live at the bottom of the air with me. And I breathe like you. And as I breathe, I never even consider the parasite. I just take for granted that I can breathe. I take for granted I can walk about and do whatever I want. But the conditions are very, very particular. But I've made them not particular at all. In fact, I can go on as much as to say, who wants to talk about air? You know, I have air, you have air. So what is there to talk about? Well, without air, we couldn't talk at all. Or make these funny sounds that come out, hit your microphone, boom their way to Australia, smash and come out of your speaker. Don't you think that's marvelous, though? Well, it's only marvelous. We don't get caught up in it. And it's very easy for us to think how brilliant. The idea, the feeling that we've advanced so far, that we can talk, you could be in Australia, and I can be in England. But what actually connects us is not what we're saying. What connects us is timelessness. We recognize our warmth and our understanding. This understanding is so 50%. You know, without this 50%, I can't possibly talk to you. Without the air, without everything else, without the trees, without everything, I can't talk to you. So I don't know where to go from here other than how do I lift myself up into this place of timelessness? Because all this has been so I can lift myself into time and with everyone else and the whole world. But I sink down into time again, and I sink down into, I haven't got much time. I sink down, and I fall down to the bottom of the air, and I feel lonely. I feel on my own in time. Parasite. In fooling, we need to see SEE. We need to see. We need to see. We need to see this parasite. It's not bad or good because it's a without one we don't get the other. So it's not trying to not have parasite. It's that you need to be able to hop, so to speak, from parasite to seeing. And imagination. Now, in the parasite imagination, everything is used to make deck chairs with. That's what we think about imagination, and that imagination has been educated. We went to school. We went to school not because we didn't know what the name of trees were. We knew what trees were. We didn't call them trees, though. We don't know what we did call them, but we didn't call them trees, and we didn't call grass grass. We just ran around and lay down and stood up and swam and held our mummy, daddy, and we went on doing that. And then slowly the parasite was made into a parasite. Slowly our thinking began. We say, well, that's what we all need to be doing, you know. That's life itself, when you start to think. But thinking overturns what was already there, and we made everything, gave everything a name, which is right to do, but not so right that we forget that we have got something that we didn't know what it was and lived in parasite. And then we made it into something and called it a name and then possessed it. Well, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just that we don't realize how possessive we are, how possessive everything is. I want to get to know you, Viv, and then I want to possess you. But that's not the way to do it. It's to leave you where you are and for you to enjoy the life you're living without feeling that you have to live up to some responsibility I'm supposed to be throwing at you. And you're supposed to be giving back to me. And then we're supposed to be doing this. And then we're supposed to be doing that. And then That's the relationship. In which we relate. You know, it's a kind of common place. And in our common place, all the stories in the relationship are very much the same. We live in a huge relationship on the earth. We live in a small relationship in our lives. But all of it's a ship within a ship within a ship. And I am a fool to feel that I can see all this. What makes you feel you can see all this? I say, well, it's wonderful, is it not? I don't have to go, it's mine. I don't have to go, it's yours. You're already here. If you're breathing and you're walking about, then we're sharing it. Sharing is a good word. It's got a shh in it, and ah. We're all here, you know. Shh, ah, share. We're all doing this, but don't tell anybody. Tell anybody we're all here together. We're all here doing stuff together. Shh. We're all pretending that we're not here. You're pretending, I'm pretending that we're not. I can't see you, but you're there. Shh. We're sharing that, you know. How to see parasite, how to be with parasite, not to change it, not do anything with it, but use your realize to see that it's there. Not, it ought not to be there. We ought to extinguish it, have a fight with it, you know, create all people on that side of the earth who do not see it. They are so ignorant because we see it and they don't. But you can do that with your next door neighbor, or you can do it with your child, because they don't see what you are so het up about. Why can't you come out in the garden and play? Because you're pulled by 100 things that don't allow you to do it. Whereas the child is very happy, you know. Oh, it's so nice. They're in the garden. I don't know what they're doing, but at least they're out of my hair. Yet in this relationship, you know, is this inevitable? Just say yes. My son of 14 is just saying, why do you always say no? Why do you say no to everything? You're just a no person. No, he says to me, Dad, life is for loving and for knowing each other, for being with each other. And you say no all the time. Why do you say no? I say, well, it's difficult, you see, because, well, we saw that house yesterday. I loved it. I loved it. Why can't we just have it? Why can't we, you know, why can't we just go there? Well, just wander around and be there. That's all it's about, isn't it? We'll just be there in this house and we'll have a great time. Well, yes to that. That's why we ought maybe buy this house. But there are other things to think about. Why? What's to think about? You like it, you do it. Yes, that's very true. Why are you always saying no to everything? I mean, Dad, you do this work and you say no? You do. You say no. You're saying to everybody they ought to accept what's going on around them. Yes, that's true. So let's buy the house then. Yes, let's buy the house. Let's never think about why it's difficult, or the planning permission and all the other things that I've got to think about. We'll just say, excuse me, open the front door, in we go, and sit down, and there we are. Yes, Dad, that's exactly it. Yet I'm pulled by thinking. Somebody may come in from next door and go, is this your house? I say, yes, it's our house now. Did you buy it? No, we didn't buy it. We just moved in. We just moved in. It's a one. Look at the view. I mean, look at that view. That's my view now. Is it your view? So I'm explaining that the world is shrouded in this thinking. It's got intricate moves and intricate things, things that cause all those problems about the way thinking has done all this. Thinking has filled every gap that would be just playing in fields to not knowing that it belongs to the farmer and that it belongs to this. I can't put it anywhere without it. I don't know. Apparently it belongs to someone else. I can't put my finger down in Australia. I can't do it. It belongs to somebody, then somebody, and somebody right down to next door neighbor. And it's a state, and then it's a thing. All these things that thinking has done. Congratulations on so much thinking and interweaving of thinking and thinking and thinking and blah, 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 blah. I mean, we have to get involved in all that just to live? Yes, I'm afraid so. You can't really be on the Earth's surface unless you intertwine yourself with all this stuff. There isn't a gap which hasn't been filled by thinking. Unfortunately, there isn't a leaf in the Brazilian jungle that I'm not searching out to try and give it a name. It can't live there freely, just being a tree in the middle of whatever it wants to be. No, I've got to search with my binoculars and my books and my so on, and I've got to that tree almost. It's the only tree in the world that's not got a name. I shall name it. It shall now be known as the K tree. When people die, it will be forever a K tree. I don't know I just don't know what it's actually called, but I'm going to call it a K tree, and everybody else will have known as a K tree. It hasn't got a name. It's not even a tree. Well, I'm saying it's a tree. And no, those things that you call whatever it is you call are like the coral on the bottom of the sea. These things, they clean the air. They give life to all around them. Yes, I know, it's a tree. I know, but when you say you do not see what actually this thing that you call a tree is doing, being with us, with me. I mean, we came on the earth together, trees and humans. We live together. We're twins. We're twins. I seem to have gone so far from understanding that all this was my twin. Everything that I am not is my twin. That's outside thinking. So my thinking, how can I be less egocentric over it? Well, we're never going to get rid of the ego. So, but we need to know we have a parasite. A parasite that doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to me. I came in amongst it. I found myself alive. And then the thing I worried about was me, not where I was or how I was alive. Parasite, paradise, paradox. These are interesting words. We land in paradise. It's got a dice on the end of it. So you go like this, you go, and you wake up in paradise and you say, now, where am I? And it's limitless where you are. But you panic until you feel you know where you are. So that's to do with understanding. And as I said to you before, we need to have a place where we're understood. This understanding is, important. Hello, what do you want? Okay, there you are. Okay. Off you go. Just wants to see. Bye. 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 Yeah, so these things are happening all the time. Giving in to what? Giving up to what? So in pooling, I would encourage everybody to start to give up. Give up what? Give up seeing the way you've been taught to see. Give in to your feelings that lie somewhere or other. Try to connect what you see with, and let thinking help you with that, not tell you what it is. So thinking is a strange thing. It can get very above itself, as if it becomes important, because there's nothing else around. I mean, the tree is never going to go, I'm more important than that. The river is never go, I'm more important than that. There's nothing to balance that up. I can cut down all the trees and I can't hear anything. I can dam up the river, but I can't hear anything. I can feel only success or that I followed through with my thoughts and I dammed the river and I made the electricity. I can't hear anything else going, hang on a minute. I can't go, I can't, it's nothing. I'm apparently free to do what I wish. I can do it. And as long as I get other people to agree with me, we can go and do it. And then if I don't get people to agree with me, I can create opposition. And if I create opposition, I can create strife. And if I do that, then I can create people who are against me. If you're not with me, you're against me. And so how to move? Look, see, be, and fly. There's no thinking in the sense or retrospect, or future, or past, or speculation. So we have these things. The heaviest part of us that we lumber about with. When we're lumbering, I am lumbering in my own contemplation, my own thinking, my own thoughts, and dragging them around with me. When I'm doing that, I see, you know, I be rid of them so that I can be free. How can I rid myself of all these thoughts? So I can be thoughtless, let's say, and free to just be. Well, thing in timelessness, nothing has ever changed. It's only if I have time in it that it seems like impossible. So I must learn how to be timeless in time. He did it just in time. Only just in time. Time is a very strange, it's a kind of strange word. There's a me in it and a tie in it. So it ties me down. Time ties me inexorably and continuously into something timey. It just ties me and ties me. I can't wriggle free. I can't wriggle free of time. Not in my thinking. But I and my education, at least my education, tried to say to me, the most important thing about it is your thinking. I never went to university, but university is a hive of thinking. I'm not saying it's wrong. All right. I'm just saying thinking has been really been the thing, you know. We have thinking, trees do not. We have thinking and lions don't, you know. This is what makes us the way we are. But, you know, we're a bit sort of not listening, you know. Oh, yes, thinking, it is thinking. Yes, I agree, absolutely thinking. That means it allows us to wonder and to see and be all these things, you know, over the years, you know, Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, all been thinking. And the epitome of this thinking is wonderful blooming of society and civilization. Look, see what we're doing. It's only thinking that's at war. It's thinking that's at war with other thinking, other boundaries. You're suggesting that there's something else beside thinking? How dare you? How dare you think there's something beyond thinking? And as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, so the poet's pen gives to this airy nothing a local habitation and a name. In timelessness, all these things are still there. It's only time that's made us frightened. We play around in time. How do you mean? How do you mean? I mean, you have to accept that time is a fact. Well, I do accept that. I accept that as a fact. the quality of fact. It's a good word, fact. It's got an F and an act in it.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. You're the kind of person who dissembles every single word. You know, you're the one who sort of tries to create a sort of freedom, but the words must be used properly and definitively. They must be used in the way that they were produced. A fact is a fact. Well, yes, I go with that. In time, I go with that.
Mm.
But actually, you're involved in an act of, you want to be, if you get 6 people together, you can create a fact. One person can't have a fact. 2 people can have a fact, but one person cannot have a fact because it has to be agreed by another person who agrees that what you're doing is a fact. And then 6 people get together and that's a fact. And then 100 people get together and really it's becoming a big fact until, you know, we get to an enormous amount of people and we all agree it's a fact, except for the fact that the fact is still dissembling and sort of moving, and what it was as a fact is now dissembled, and then, so the fact wasn't a fact after all. There's some other people on the other side there believing that that fact is not quite a fact. And they start to have armies of facts against facts. You know, there's people still just worried about facts.
Mm.
It's a fact. Boom, 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 boom. It's a fact. Boom, boom. I'm sorry to say, this is a fact. I'm sorry to say. Once it's a fact, you fix it. And once you fix it, it becomes a fact. I know very definitely that we are in the same room together. That's a fact. But you can't find the room that we're in together. Unless I prove that we're in the same room together, it's not a fact. But we can be in the same room together. In the room, I have all these things behind me, and you have those pictures behind you. And that's the room you're talking from.
Mm.
And this is the room I'm talking from. But the room isn't actually where I'm talking from. I'm talking you from the room, but on also saying that everything I'm saying is not in the room that I've been speaking from. So there's the room. I haven't mentioned the pictures behind you, or the blue shirt you're wearing, or the hairstyle, or your face. I haven't mentioned any of that. That's in the room, is it not? And it will stay in the room. But if we had to live in the room, you know, we spend most of our time not in the room, you know. I've been speaking about the trees and the world and so on. And I haven't been just going on, well, those pictures behind you, you know, some of them got black and some of them got yellow and some of the pink, you know. I haven't been living on fact. The fact is you are in that room, okay? But that, you know, that's only the beginning of something marvelous. Because we've been talking about something that isn't in the room at all, the room. So we have the room, which we agree we have, you know, without talking about it, like the air we breathe and so on, that goes in the room. But very, very quickly, we're very interested in the room. That's the other room, which we don't see. The room that has dreams in it, speculations in it, judgments in it. And we hover in this room in the room much more than we hover in the room. When we're in the room, we can put up new pictures and take them down and make the room feel a bit better. So that's the reality room.
Mm.
And then we got the room in the room, which is where we basically live. If we just live in the room too much, then people say, wake up, for goodness sake. You've got to be in the real room. Come on. Get up out of bed, get yourself downstairs, and start to react in the real world. And somebody in bed in the room going, oh God, for fuck's sake, you know, I'm happy. I'm in a place where I really like to be. As I know, but that isn't a real world. You understand? You got to get downstairs and have your cornflakes. Got to get out and get yourself a job. That's the real world.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really hard to get involved with that real world. You know, eating cornflakes doesn't make me feel real. So there's a marriage between the room and the room in the room.
Mm.
But not only is there a room in the room, but there's a room in the room in the room. That's where we place all our secrets, things, aspirations, qualities that aren't actually in the room or in the room in the room. They are in another place. They are secret, they are sacred, and they are scared, and they're scarred. If people really knew how scarred I was, I'd never be able to live in the real world anymore. People understood my secrets. I mean, I can go downstairs and have some cornflakes, and I can imagine what I'm going to do today. I can do that. But you wanting to get into the room in the room is okay. That's fine, because you know, that's pretty okay. But to get in the room in the room in the room where my secrets and my sacredness and my scare, fuck you. You're never going to know that. You see, things are really round in a very strange way.
Mm.
We all have the same secrets. Did you know that? It's just that we can't check that. We can't open ourselves enough to discover that.
Mm.
We are all scarred by emotional abuse and non-abuse and being who we are and what we are, and has scarred us, made us defensive and secretive. Because he came to Earth, and for 10 seconds or so, it was the place to be. And then someone shouted, and then someone said something, and then someone said, "Oh, isn't it like that? So, oh, she looks just like your dad. It's like your mom." So the peace and the beauty that you continuously do have, you must sidestep that.
Mm.
Do not realize that you are born even.
Mm.
Some of our yeah, what do you want?
She said something.
Oh, she says something. I don't know where she says something.
There.
Yeah, a message. Hi, Yarrow. I'm at work at the moment, so I cannot send messages. Okay?
Okay.
Nah, nah. See you in a bit. Why can't they play? So we bump up against all these things, and we only bump up against them because we have a defense mechanism going on all the time. We bump up against the defense, you know.
Mm.
If I try to ask you what your secrets are and whether you're secret, I'll bump up against your defenses. Would be natural, would it not? And I don't want to hop over them, other than the fact that we all have the same thing. So it's like one of those things like, if you knew what I knew, that you knew that I knew what it was all about, you wouldn't love me anymore, because you would discover that I've already had been abused. I'm trying to pretend I haven't had all those things. That today, in my timeless place, I am fresh, I am new. I don't want to upset that. You've got no idea really what's going on with me. As if that was all secret, as if that was scarred and sacred and scared, you know. But if you are with time, then you manage to sidestep yourself. There's nothing wrong, nothing right. You know, Jonathan, what is to be a fool? How do I become a fool? You don't become a fool. You realize you are one. And then that opens the way to something. Parasite, paradox. Paradise. If you can see, thinking is always going towards something that isn't there. That's what thinking thinks. So you're always up against trying to be perfect enough to get into paradise. But you're already perfect. So you are already in paradise. It's just that you sidestep that. Sidestep it and prove that you're not in paradise. Because if I was in paradise, I would know. Not really, no. Not in thinking. Because thinking doesn't want to know. It's not perfect. These stories are very old. In time, they're very old. Have you ever wanted to start a small business or something yourself that you wanted to do because you had seen it, you know? What have you wanted to do or are doing?
Did you ask me a question then, Jonathan? Because you froze.
I did, yes.
Sorry. Did you ask me, did I ever want to run my own business?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah. Okay, so you are running your own business. How's it going?
Slow.
Slow means not fast enough.
It does.
When did that come to you, this idea of a business?
5 years ago.
So where were you sitting, or where were you? You were at a meal, talking with somebody?
That's such a good question. I have no idea. I think it kind of emerged slowly that I didn't want to be doing the thing that I was doing. And so I found something else.
So what were you doing?
I was running really big events.
Big events mean I was running Australia.
Music events.
I was running music events. I had people at my beck and call. I had Oasis on my right hand, and
Not quite that big, but big.
but nearly.
Yeah.
But then you decided not to do that
Because I wanted to be more in timelessness with my
yeah,
kids.
yeah. Have you succeeded?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. At least you are giving time over to timelessness. A paradoxical idea. So that feeling of wanting to start a business, did you put money into it, or did you think
Time, money,
time, money,
thinking, lots of
thinking?
thinking.
So all this is good, but overall, do what?
To do what? Did you ask me? You froze.
Yes,
You froze again. To do what? To help
to,
people to be
to
in their
help people,
bodies.
to
To
be
be in their
them.
bodies, to be more in timelessness, ironically, to be
Yeah,
more in their creativeness.
yeah. How are you doing?
Slowly.
Slowly
It's
means,
humbling. It's humbling.
yeah.
But I can't not do it.
In timelessness, you're there, yeah.
Mm,
But to
mm,
get it into timelessness, you got to plod through time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But funnily enough, you're in timelessness as well, all the time. Your idea comes from timelessness. It doesn't come from time.
Mm.
Your feelings are connected with timelessness, not connected. You have to bring it into time, and then you have the long haphazard process of it trying to survive. Directed from timelessness. It's not going right. It is going right. It's bollocks. You know, it's just collapsed around me. But I know what it ought to be. So you use timelessness as a kind of guide.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But we all seem to live in time, when in fact we all live in timelessness. So we got this kind of swoop, or this kind of strange thing where you have a direct quality from timelessness.
Mm.
And then you have to serve time
Mm-hmm.
to get your I feelings awake. So it's a kind of prison sentence. You're sort of in time and frustrated, in time, and I just give up. I'm not going to do it anymore. What a waste of. I need to be with my children. I need to be with timelessness in my children, but I have to make all these huge kind of journeys into time.
Mm.
A paradise, a parasite. You can't not do it. I mean, you can't go, just because I know about paradise, it doesn't mean to say I shan't do it. But when you do get to the point where what it is working, you'll see that actually it was there all the time.
Mm.
But because you are split, you're trying to repair yourself.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So you get to a point where you're doing all your festivals and whatever, all the other stuff, and you find you've despaired.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sort of, and this bit's kind of, no, it's really fair. This bit's kind of, I don't know. You try it the other way around, and then this bit floats. And then try this, and this bit floats. So you have this, and you realize that everything's at odds.
Mm.
I realize everything's at odds.
Mm.
I realize that somebody goes, so you think that's easy? I'll see you in a few years, see whether you've done it or not. And that book you were going to write, How's it going? Oh, sorry. Oh, that book. Oh, yes. I don't know. I got it. I got it. I got involved in sailing, and I've been sailing around the Caribbean. So you didn't write the book? Well, I put it to one side. I mean, I'm going to write the book, I'm sure. But at the moment, I'm enjoying my relationship in the Caribbean. I'm so enjoying that. I should write a book about that, I feel. You know, I want people to feel free to be able to do life in the way that I'm beginning to see is possible for everybody. Is it really possible for everybody? It doesn't seem to be. I mean, you'd like it to be possible for everybody. And it is possible for everybody, but not on your terms. Not with your laws or your rules. So all that's in thinking. See, when you become a thinker or a king or a queen, which I do, we all do, then the first thing that's attacked is your realm. And so you think that's a good idea, do you? You're just a self-indulgent bitch, that's all you are. And that you live with accusation and injury and feeling, and you live with all these feelings, which become secret, sacred, scared and scarred, and you don't know who you are anymore. Because ego imagines it knows itself, pumps itself up, but actually it lives on air, and it lives at the bottom of the sea, bottom of the air. You know, that's all it's doing. It's pumping itself up and proclaiming stuff that apparently nobody else does. So ego, what to do with ego? Here we go. Success. Yeah, all that stuff, brilliant, you know. Carry on. I don't know whether you'll come to a point, I'll come to a point, we'll come to a point where we've been just dealing with 50% of what's going on. And that's it. You know, it's probably more like 3% as opposed to egotistically at 50%. I would say it's important that that everybody raises their time into timelessness. But then it seems to be only just you beginning to see something without a name, but not worry about that. So how do we make this bridge between what we know and what we don't know? You can ask somebody, you know, they say, oh, well, I don't know very much. I never have known very much. But underneath it, you can hear somebody going, actually, I know lots, but I'm I'm very modest, you know. Don't, you know, I don't know very much. But then there's some point where you think, oh, I know lots. It's this at odds with itself, the odds and evens.
Mm.
Eve is a very even thing. So there's Adam and Eve. Eve is not a woman, it's just even and odds. There's odds and evens. Just because they seem to be, they're not male and female.
Mm.
They're just odds and evens. For everything that's even, there's an odd. And for every odd, there's an even. Adam and Eve didn't have tummy butt. Adam and Eve were never born through the vagina.
Mm.
They are timeless. So when you start your small business, the business itself is the apple. Anybody thinks, I can see the opportunity, a chance. I could start a small business. That looks really easy, but I'd like to pick that apple that's higher up the tree. People that don't realize how high the apples grow. And if I could just take that apple, that idea, but at that time you are odd.
Mm.
You are very odd, Viv. Am I? Yeah, you're very odd. You're joining in. You're not really taking hold of life and doing it properly. You've got this opportunity of doing this thing, Viv, but you're not doing it, are you? You say, well, I don't know whether to do it or not. I've got many opportunities. Look at all these different apples. I could have that apple. I could start a small business, start a family. I could do all these things. Okay, so you're very odd. So you haven't come down on something. Oh yes, I have. I've taken a bite out of that. I tasted that one. No good. If I don't do it soon, all these opportunities I will get old, and all these opportunities I will never be able to stretch up high enough. I'd never be able to get the opportunity I see hiding in this opportunity, this apple, this sweet tasting thing. And then you go for it. Go for it. It just means you take a big bite. You go for it. You go, tastes really nice. I think I'll start a small bakery. People. And my husband says I take very nice bread. My lover says I make very nice bread. My children say I make very nice bread. What I'm not doing is sharing it with everyone else. If I got enough money together, I could go into business of deck chairs, or I could go into more bread. I'll be individualistic. Right, it's bread. I'll do bread. Very modern. Bread with all the right vitamins and everything. Bread that's real bread. Real bread. Not all this factory fuck stuff. But I need a bit of money because I've seen a building down the road. But I can't just move in. I mean, I'd just like to move in, start making bread. But I can't just go in and start making bread because I've got to buy the building, I've got to pay the rent, I've got to do, God's sake. Why do they make it difficult? All these hoops and hops. I just want to make bread and sell it to my friends. I'll just do it in my kitchen. I know I can do it there. And then I get a queue down the street because my bread is so good. I say, my bread's getting bad because I haven't got time to make so many loaves, and there's too many people wanting my bread, and I'm trying to please them, but my bread's going downhill. I need a better premises. I shall have to mortgage my house, get some extra money. See, gradually, you become obsessive about bread, you know. Can't think anything else but how to make better bread and pleasing people with the bread and so on. I'm going to have to put step up into business and slowly you start to fall. What looked like a wonderful idea you have now eaten, and now, yes, it's successful. I am successful. Go to bed at night. I am a successful baker. Actually, there's another bakery just down the road. They've just started baking bread because I've influenced them. I influenced them to make bread, and they're taking some of my customers, you know, and they're saying that actually their bread is better than mine. I dream of killing them. It's because if they weren't there, if I blew up their bakery, then, you know, they would only have my bakery. And I can't sleep at night. Worried about somebody will take my bakery away. The bank. Why are some people successful? And this is the great fall. The great fall. It's a good fall, but we don't want to fall. We don't want to see that I was idealistic. I wanted just to play in the garden with my children. That's all I wanted to do. But then the house was taken away. I could still play with my children, but the house had gone. My bank account had disappeared. But I could still play with my children. Then there was a problem of what to eat, and I looked to see that there wasn't much to eat. It was all because the other people had sold the fruit and baked the bread, and everybody else, it belonged to everyone else. And I went round to their door and I said, I'm sorry, I haven't anything. I'm sorry. I said, well, I've lost my business. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. Only an idiot loses what you've lost. And then I turned and I looked at my children, and my children say, don't worry, Mummy. We have each other. And I cuddled them, and at that point, you see, you need to give up. Give in. At that point. But it doesn't sound like the point to give up and give in. It seems like from here, you realize you've been not bad or good, not, you know, a good fool or a bad fool, but just a fool. You know, you weren't seeing really what was going on. But at this point, you do see the love of your children is far better than any bread you might make. And yet you put that second or third or 10th or even forgotten about it.
Mm.
But they're in the world too. You've given them a good example of something or other. They will make sense of what you've done in a way that you never made sense of what you were doing. So a great process, no thinking in there at all, just a feeling, a swap, something. Many people have been in your situation, my situation. It's not bad or good, it's just a realizing place, a relationship with your things that you had forgotten. Not forgotten, but assumed. You see, you've got a good point here. Will you be different, or will you just look at the other apple and think, now I'm ready to pick another apple? I feel that I understand now what's going on. I'll pick the other apple and I'll learn from my mistakes. My mistakes. Oh, I see the mistakes I made. You didn't make any mistakes. You just didn't see what you were doing. And if you look at another apple, well, you're up for more mistakes. Because that's the way of the world. It's not right or wrong. But look around you, you know. And children come into this, teach them to think. Is that teach them how you made mistakes and how they so you must give up to timelessness. The tree itself with the apples on is timeless. So it's not exactly choosing not the apple or the tree or paradise. It's that you're trying to understand yourself in paradise. Understand this and understand that. So this is this thing I was saying to you. You're trying to go around looking for understanding in a place that's already paradise. Except for the fact that lots of other people have had lots of understanding and ripped it to bits. So this understanding, here's understanding. And I want to be with my children and everybody to be understood. That's why it's so slow. Because you have to walk with it, be with it. When you next go out for a walk and you don't know where to go, feel your understanding coming to you and let it be under your feet. As you walk along, your twin is understanding you. And you walk along. If you start to think, you'll go like this. But if you feel understood, then you don't have to think anymore. You could do this for 10 seconds maybe before you start thinking and speculating. Things are always, the whole world is there to understand you. Yet it's not right, is it? how to begin to feel understood. How to see, these two C's I was showing you the other day. That one's the right way around. For me, that's that one. For you, it's that one. Our eyes turn everything upside down. And the fool, these two black things here, what are they called?
The
These two black
pupils.
pupils. Pupils. They are pupils. They are at school. The darkness of the pupil, and it is limitless. Well, you on the other side are looking out from this limitless space into unlimited. Unlimited each way. You are pupil, two pupils. These are the twins. This pupil sees this, and this pupil sees that. They see different things. And then they come together to be one C and two C's. These two C's are W. When they are like this, they are dispaired. Who brings them together? It's not this that brings together with that. It's trying to keep them apart. They are whole, but yeah, you cannot believe that. We'll say, believing it. That means leave it away. Do not go there. Be leaving it behind, believing it in time. Start to believing it so that you can find yourself. These are only aids. Belief is only an aid. It's nothing really. You are not a belief. I'm not a belief. Nobody is a belief. They are already involved. We got wonderful words like evolve, which is love backwards. So we need to evolve into love. So it's backwards because of this C. And that it love the right way around is evolve. We evolve. Words. A word, W or D, word. But if you look at it foolishly, and I'm not saying anyone else in the whole world looks at it foolishly except for us, maybe. But W, that means realize this, or D, that is death. W or death. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? How do you see this W? Will you die unknown? Unknown has got a W in it. Why has it got a W in it? You don't pronounce the W, but you missed it. You missed the W in front of you at the same time as you're saying, it's unknown. Answer, why does it have a W in it and you don't pronounce it? You don't say answer, but there's a W in answer. Why is there a W in answer? Foolishly, it's because that is the answer.
Mm.
It's right in front of you, and yet you do not see it.
Mm.
But what is this W? You cannot even hear two U's in it. You just hear a letter. Letter. When you, if I said you are a letter, it would mean that you had let your house out, let's say, or let your thoughts out. And you've just done that. And you've done that without thinking at all. And not thinking is good. But then a mistake is just a mistake.
Mm.
What you took it wrong. You didn't see it. You didn't see the twist in it. It's not right or wrong. It's just that your education has made you one-sided. Brilliant, it's brilliant. I mean, education is fantastic. But who was the instigator of this education? Who instigated it? You say, well, my dad, my mom, it goes on and on until where? Who is the teacher of all teachers? And what was there? What were they doing? That's in timelessness. You cannot learn anything unless you listen. You can't just learn it. You have to listen. How do you spell learn?
Learn.
Can you see it's got an ear in it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see ear?
Mm-hmm.
When you learn, you must listen.
Mm.
It's there, big ear. Learn. Ear. How do you spell fear?
Fear.
It's what you hear that makes you frightened.
Mm. Mm.
I'm not saying this is a dictionary. I'm saying each person has something, something to work with. Work. How do you spell work?
WORK.
So you've got a W, and you've got an O and an R. So you've got W or K is made of I and C, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So first of all, W, realize this, or K, but K is IC.
Mm.
So K, where does this K go? In front of no. They put a K on in front of no. And they do that. Whoever they are, they put a K on no. So it's to rumble your thinking. Stop running on thinking you know something. Because when you know something, you don't go, oh, VW. No, you don't. You don't go those two letters. When you see something, you go,
Mm.
when you I see, something sinks into you a little bit beyond your thinking.
Mm.
So your thinking's good, but not if it doesn't allow you to see, to have a wider, I don't know. You're at work and you're an alcoholic worker, yes? You can't put your work down like a drinker can't put their drink down. Why is that difficult? A drinker loves drinking, yeah? Doesn't see any possibility of being in the world without drinking. It's impossible. You know, I'm feeling absolutely okay, but I had to have a drink, you know. I'm absolutely all right as long as I can do some fooling. I'm all right as long as I can be a politician. I'm all right. I work towards being a politician. I work towards being a mother. I work towards being a father, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Jonathan, can we stop now? There's so much going on. My thinking doesn't know what to do. It's just almost blown apart. What can I hold on to after all this conversation we've had together? Let your thinking. It's only in the room you're thinking. But your imagination is in the room, And your archetypal person is secret, sacred, scared, and scarred. So you got these three things. But you're coming this way as well as you're going that way. If you go too much this way, you feel in despair. If you go too much this way, you feel in despair. It's these two meeting. So it's not just 1, 2, 3. Everybody believes that the spring of a river runs down to the sea. The spring, the rain falls, and then the rain falls in, and then the stream goes down into the sea. But it doesn't see that that because you don't see that. But it has to reach up to invite the spring to bring its water down. But we think we'll build a dam there because we collect the water, but it stops everything coming up the river, the fish, everything else. It cannot come up to the spring to spawn and to feel. The fish and the water and the spring and the sea, they are all one thing. We are all one thing. But our thinking has separated us. What? So that we can repair ourselves? How do you feel?
You just froze again. Did you say, how do I feel?
Yeah. How do you feel about all this?
I see. So I feel. I see some of it. Maybe not all of it, but it's beautiful.
Don't say maybe.
Okay.
Don't say would. Don't say could. Don't say should. These are great thinking things. They split you. But yeah, carry on. But they split you. You know. As soon as they split you, you've got an opinion. and that's good. But your opinion just falls in amongst all the other opinions. I'm not saying it right, but I'm saying somehow we are all together, or is that just my imagination?
Why
What
just
goes,
imagination?
what goes on in you every day? What goes on in you every day?
I don't know how to answer that. Life? This, being alive, goes on in me every day. Thinking goes on in me every day. But I'd like to for that to be less. Imagination, I think. I think, imagination. Imagination. I think life. Life is there every day. Thank you, Jonathan. I feel changed again, and I appreciate it. Mm. Mm. And I don't quite have many more words to say to explain it. But thank you. I'm going to press stop.